is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for clicking on to another video. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your sessions in the gym are going well, your nutrition's on point, all that jazz. If you've been enjoying the content, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? Just a little cheeky click of that subscribe button, and you're there. You get all the content. We got videos coming out every Monday talking about training, talking about nutrition, whatever tickles my fancy. Anyway, today is going to be one of those videos where we talk about training. So if you've been following the channel for a minute, you know that I am coming off of a high frequency training program in which my main goals were, number one, to continue my weight loss journey, and number two, to increase the strength on my deadlift as much as I can while being in a calorie deficit. I knew it was going to be tough from the outset. Training my bigger lifts, my strength lifts in the past have been really hard when I'm in a calorie deficit, but I was carrying a lot of excess fat and a lot of excess weight. So I thought that if I got my protein macros correct, I would be able to not only maintain my strength during this cut, but also gain some strength on my deadlift specifically. If my bench and my squat went up as well, I'd be totally happy with that. But our main goal, as I said, weight loss, deadlift progress. I'm going to spoil the rest of the video for you. All three of my lifts gained some weight. Super pumped about that. Super excited. And I lost 10 pounds over the 8-week process. So I'm going to talk about my process of dieting a little bit. I'm going to mainly talk about my lifts, how I approach 1 rep maxing so that I can get ready, warm myself up properly, and make sure the lifts are the best they can, when to call it, when to push yourself a little bit further. Everything you could ever want to know about 1 rep maxing. And then we're going to touch a little bit on what my diet was during this 8-week block and where we're going from here with my training. So without any further ado, let's start at the top with the deadlift. All right, we've reached it, ladies and gentlemen, the cream of the crop, the deadlift, the main lift we were working on. As you can see here, I have 405 pounds on the bar. My previous 1 rep max at the beginning of this training cycle was 395 pounds. I felt that 395 moved really well, but I hadn't deadlifted in a long time. I switched my stance from sumo deadlifting to conventional deadlifting. So I wanted to build back up my conventional deadlift. So I hit 395. I probably could have gone more, but decided that 395 was fine. I'd work through this 8-week training block and see where we're at. So I loaded up 405, made sure that I took the tension out of the bar, really engaged my lats as well as my lower back. Drive. Perfect. Off the floor, really good. As you saw there, I rocked back a little bit on the back of my heels, and I think that was just because I wasn't expecting the weight to fly up so easily. So when I got to my lockout, I kind of, fell back because I felt like the weight was moving too fast. Anyway, 405, really good. So in the gym, I decided, okay, 405 was flying. Let's move up. Let's go up 20 pounds. And then when I got 20 pounds on the bar, I felt like, I could definitely do more. So I went up 30 pounds instead. So my next attempt and my final attempt of the day was 435. Let's take a look. All right, so with 435 loaded, I got myself psyched up, ready to go. Again, we approached the bar the same way every time. Bar over midfoot, got down, took the tension out of the bar, braced my lats as always. Nice big Valsalva, and locked. Really good stuff. I had a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a grind towards the top half of the movement. Also, I felt like my back rounded a little bit too much for my comfort zone. But in a 1 rep max test, I'm really going all out. I'm pushing myself as hard as I can, trying to get as much weight as possible. So I felt really happy with 435. I wanted to push to 440 or 445, but on 435, I felt a little bit of a twinge in my hamstring. So I just hung it up, didn't want to push it. As I always say, an injury is going to keep you out of the gym for, who knows, 4, 6, 8 weeks. And I just didn't want to derail the progress that I was making. I felt like I shouldn't push it on that day. A little bit of a twinge in the hamstrings. So we were happy with 435. A very nice PR for me, and I'm really excited for the potential I have going forward, specifically when I get down to weight and try and bulk as I'm strength training, because, strength training in a caloric deficit is definitely tough. I'm really excited to do a traditional bulk, maybe 8 months down the road. Who knows? As soon as I get down to maintenance weight, we'll see where we're at. All right, that was the deadlift. We took a day off and we hit a bench press next. So since the bench press wasn't my main focus, I thought that I would start with 315. 315 was my previous PR that I hit 8 weeks ago. Wanted to see how that felt. Loaded it up. When I'm bench pressing, specifically when I'm moving into higher reps, I want to make sure that I have a spotter present. So this dude An incredible guy. Just met him in the gym. As you can see, he's pretty damn strong himself. Get yourself a strong dude to come help you out when you're testing on bench press. So I loaded up 315, got my nice arch on my back, made sure my butt was always on the bench, so this was powerlifting legal. Unracked, paused on the chest, came up, 315 was flying. You can see my spotter there is like, why do you even need me, dude? You had that easy. So I felt really good about 315. My thought process was, do I move up to 325? And then if I feel really good about 325, go to 335. When I'm 1 rep maxing, it's intense, man. The systemic fatigue really racks up really quickly because 315 isn't obviously my first lift. I go through a large pyramid warm-up where I'll do 8 reps of 135, 6 reps of 225, 4 reps of 275, etc. Move my way up. So I had already done, 15, 20 reps of the bench press. Didn't want to overstimulate myself with a 325 attempt. So I jumped up to 335 right off the bat. So I think the jump up to 335 kind of set me off my rhythm a little bit. I had never held that much weight in my hands in a bench pressing position. So as we watch this first attempt, you'll see that I come down and just absolutely lose it. I think the bar path went too far up my chest. Absolutely lost it. Needed my spotter to help me out there, so I was glad that I had him. But I did feel like weight-wise, I could handle it if my mechanics were with me. So I wanted to give it another shot. Took 2 to 3 minutes rest. Got the weight ready to go. Called in the spotter. We set up again. This time, really, really focused on my mechanics. I felt like strength-wise, just raw strength, I could handle this amount of weight. It was all about mechanics in this, so really, really trying to focus on keeping my elbows tucked, keeping the bar path neutral, my arch in my back helping me get this weight. So as you can see, we unrack, come down, slight pause on the chest, and we push it. Man, I really felt like I could have had that. He came in and helped me a little bit earlier than I would have expected, but, we just had a failure on the first rep, so I think he was being a little extra cautious. So I didn't competition legal hit 335. So I'm going to say that my bench press 1 rep max is around 325, which, you live and you learn. If we had just gone up to 325, maybe we could have gotten a clean rep and just called it there. But we were pushing ourselves 335 with a little bit of help. So we're going to say 325. One main thing when you're bench pressing, if you have never used the weight before, get a spotter. I've seen too many videos of people barbell getting stuck on their neck, getting stuck on their chest, they're getting trapped underneath it. Don't ego lift. And if you're going to ego lift, get a spotter to help you when you inevitably fail. It happens to everybody. Failure is not an issue as long as you're taking the correct precautions and making sure that you're safe when you fail. So that was deadlifts and bench press. We only got 1 left, so we took another day off and we moved over to the squat. Again, since squat wasn't my main focus, I took a similar approach to my bench press testing where I wanted to start with my previous 1 rep max PR. So that was 405. We loaded it up. Felt really good going in. The warm-up felt really good. Really was focusing on my low bar positioning, and 405 moved super, super well, as you can see. So immediately we moved up 435. I don't know what it is about me, but I felt like 435 was the way to go. So we loaded up the weight. Nice hit depth. A little bit of a grind, but 435 felt really good to me. So I decided to go up one more time. This is where the systemic fatigue was starting to kick in. I felt it a little bit at 435 where my low back was feeling a little bit of twinge. It had been a long week. We had done a lot of testing, but I felt like I could push 445. And if I failed, just bail out, drop the weight, whatever, not a huge deal. So with 445 loaded up on the bar, with the knee sleeves on and the squat shoes on, with this dude in the red watching me in my every movement, took a huge breath, dropped down, hit depth, really grinded it out, hit it. I honestly super, super happy with that. So 445 moved really, really well. I was super surprised, actually. There was a little bit of a grind in the middle of the movement, but overall, I felt like I definitely could have done more, maybe even 465. The thing about it was if I had started at 435 instead of 405 and maybe saved a couple reps, we could have pushed it a little bit more. But again, we don't want to hurt ourselves. The back was feeling a little bit fatigued, so we just called it at 445. So we started with a deadlift of 395. We moved up after 8 weeks to 435. Super solid. Really, really happy about that. On bench, we started at 315. We moved up to an estimated 1 rep max of 325. 10 pounds, perfectly cool with that. In a caloric deficit, Gaining 10 pounds on my bench was more than I was expecting. I was hoping to just maintain 315. And then finally at squat, we started at 405 8 weeks ago, and we moved up to 445 with the potential of probably hitting 455, 465. Really, really great stuff. For me personally, it gave me a really good boost of confidence moving forward. A quick word on my diet, because as you know, I'm in a caloric deficit. However, I'm really trying to hit my protein macros every day. So right now I'm eating 2,700 calories a day, which is a caloric deficit of about 750 calories off of my estimated caloric burn. Obviously, we're not going to get to perfect numbers because we don't have the best data, but through my estimated caloric burn, tracking my steps on my Fitbit, getting an estimation of how many calories I'm burning per day, what my heart rate is, how many steps I'm taking, I think that I burn around 3,500 to 3,600 calories a day. Obviously, these are estimations, but I'm losing weight, so something seems to be working. So we eat at 2,700 calories, but the main thing I want to talk about is I'm eating 245 grams of protein a day. I don't think enough people get the protein that they need. There's a lot of different recommendations out there. 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, 1 gram per pound of body weight. Basically, I go with closer to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I'm 285 and I'm trying to eat 245. So obviously I've done a little bit of tweaking with my math there, but I use a lot of protein supplements, protein shakes, just try and get a lot of lean protein chicken, some lean ground beef, eggs, etc. This isn't a nutrition video, but I just wanted to touch on it to let you guys know. I'll have a more in-depth nutrition video about like a day of my personal eating on my cut. So subscribe so that you can catch that. But anyway, that's a basic recap. High frequency training was a big success. I really enjoyed the workouts that I was doing, and I think the strength gains speak for themselves. All right, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. Not a lot of practical information in this one, but just a quick update on my physique, where we're headed. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Get strong and stay strong. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.